roundup of all the action in Adani Group of companies there, and flashing on your screens Adani Ports numbers, but the stock price really not impacted by it. In fact, still holding above the 4% and gaining despite a miss on several points in terms of the numbers and the performance. So we'll wait for more analysis on those numbers, but staying with the group companies details, well, my colleague Abhishek Kothari has compiled a list of lenders having the exposure to the group companies. Abhishek, give us those details and which bank has more exposure to this group.
Well, the data has been compiled with the managements of the lenders, speaking of from brokerage house notes like Macquarie, etc. So lenders of banks and NBFCs have an exposure of about 57,000 crore to Adani Group, which forms about 0.7% of 0.9% of their loans. So 6 lenders have an exposure of about 59,751 crores, which forms about 0.96% of the total book. The amount-wise highest exposure is of SBI, which is about 27,000 crore, forms about 0.88% of their overall loan book. Percentage-wise, the highest exposure is of REC, that is Rural Electrification Company, who did mention to us today morning that they have an exposure of about 7,000 crore. This forms about 1.7% of the total loan. Macquarie has written a note wherein, IndusInd Bank has an exposure of 1.5% of their overall growth, overall loan book, and Axis Bank has an exposure of about 1.2% of their overall book. So these are the exposures of lenders to Adani Group, which have been known to us, publicly available figures. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, thanks a lot for detailing all of those numbers out for us. In fact, this morning we also spoke to Marco